So the question of the day is XDefiant any good? From the last server test that we've had, currently April 20th to 21st, whatever, 19 to 21st, 2024. After playing this server test, is XDefiant better? Is it worse? Is XDefiant going to be dead on arrival? Is it a game that has potential? Those are the questions that I want to kind of explore in this video, kind of give my own thoughts and impressions after playing some more XDefiant with this recent server test. It should be noted that I think I've played all of these server tests. I might have missed one. I can't remember how many there were. I definitely played at least 3. I think there might have been 4. Correct me if I'm wrong. There's been quite a number of them. Anyways, I might have played all of them. I might have only missed one, but either way, I played this one. I played the one that was the most recent one, which I think was last June, if I remember correctly. So it's almost a year ago, like about maybe, I guess, 10 months ago at the time of recording this. And so I've experienced XDefiant in different phases of the betas and the server tests and everything like that. And one thing that I've noticed is that it definitely feels a lot different in this test. And I want to get your guys' thoughts, by the way, down in the comments section below. Let me know what you think of XDefiant. Has this been your first time playing it with this most recent server test? Have you played recent versions? Either way, if you played recent versions, how would you compare it? Compare this version to the recent ones. Is it better or worse or the same? And if you never played the recent ones and this was the first time you played it, what do you think? I'm curious as many people's thoughts as possible. Just kind of get kind of a wide scope of just seeing what people think across the board, right? Because like I said, this is just my personal subjective thoughts and opinion, one person, and so it'd be nice to get a conversation going in the comment section and seeing more what other people think. Now, what do I think? Well, listen, first things first, there was a couple things that were missing in this beta, I guess you could call it, right? Server test, whatever they want to call it, that were not there previously. For example, there was a spider bot with one of the factions, and it was not there in this one. And I like the spider bot. I don't think it was too OP. I mean, it would kind of like it would kind of hinder the player's movement who got attacked by the spider bot for a brief moment. Maybe they found it was a little too OP. Maybe if they tweaked it a little bit, I don't know. But I thought it was okay. The one thing I noticed, which was really weird, it was only specifically with this server test for some reason, is people seemed way more sweaty, which is really weird, to say the very least. The other thing was that with crouching and jumping, it doesn't feel like there's any kind of penalty. People were jumping like constantly because the thing is, if you go for headshots do more damage, and it's easier to kill people if you can aim for the heads. If people were jumping around, crouching up and down, kind of like squatting, doing a bunch of reps of squats, if you will, or just like hopping around like a bunny, right? And you get that in other games as well, right? Like COD and different things like that. The thing with like COD and other games, other FPS games, when you do stuff like that, is first of all, the gameplay obviously is different for every single game. You got to understand that. But some of them will have a little bit of like a not a penalty per se, but there's sort of like a little bit of a delay. So I guess you can call it a penalty, right? There's a little bit of a delay in the movement and either getting back up if you're drop shotting or something, or even jump shotting. There's a little bit of a delay, so you can't just spam it in the same way. And it felt like that's something they would need to tweak, because it was just annoying. It was just annoying how much people were constantly jumping. This wasn't just kind of like a one of those things where people are just skilled with movement, right? And different things like that. No, I mean, there's no kind of risk versus reward, right? Like I said, in a game like COD, it's not perfect. Don't get me wrong, COD has a lot of issues in and of itself, but with a game like COD, I feel like, if you were to drop shot, if you were to jump shot, there's a little bit of a risk versus reward, because, you can't just get up or, jump again if you're, jump shotting instantaneously, and at least not as quickly as you could in XDefiant. And again, I get XDefiant is different. I don't want XDefiant necessarily to be COD. And I think that's another problem that I have with it, is I think they're trying too hard to be classic Call of Duty, which is a little bit kind of off-putting at this point, because I feel like with that attempt that the gameplay doesn't feel as good as it did, honestly, since the last beta. I feel like the last beta felt better. And the last one we did, which again I think was like 10 months ago, That one, I thought, man, this game is a lot of fun. It has a lot of potential. I like it. You know, it has some COD influence, sure, but it you know, it feels like it's its own thing more or less. But whatever they've done with the movement and everything like that, and again, I can't really pinpoint it. I've been trying to think of how to pinpoint it, but I can't. Whatever they've done with it, it just doesn't feel right. It feels like they've kind of they changed it in a way that made it not as good, in my opinion. From my recollection, again, this is like 10 months in between the two beta tests. You know, I might not be remembering correctly, but as far as my memory, you know, serves me in terms of how the game felt, I think the other one felt better. If I could do like a side, like you know, kind of like a A/B comparison, like, you know, back and forth, you know, on the spot, then, you know, maybe it'd be a little bit easier to tell, or maybe I would say, hey, they both seem the same. But again, from my recollection, I feel like, you know, that's the case. And you guys let me know if you played the last one and this one. That's one situation where I would love to know what you guys think, if you think I'm crazy, or if you're seeing kind of the same thing. I have seen some people mention online, like, you know, social media and whatnot, so there might be some weight to that, you know, beyond just my own kind of perception. That said, again, you know, so they did remove some of the factions. What is it called? It's like XDefiant or whatever. They removed it because there was a little bit of a bug, I guess, with the invisibility ability. Which honestly, I wasn't really using that personally. I like that faction for using the you know, the ping, kind of wall hacks, if you will, which again maybe feels a little bit OP in a sense, but it's kind of fun. It's what makes the game fun, is having these kind of different, you know, factions. I feel like some of the abilities, in some ways, don't feel very good and balanced. So I feel like there could be better balancing between the faction abilities. Again, I don't mind that they're, you know, the faction abilities can be OP, you know, but they all have to be similar in the sense that, like, you know, there's a reason to want to pick, you know, each faction. It seems like there was only 2 factions that were being chosen for the most part, which was the Libetads or whatever, the ones that can heal themselves, which of course I understand why they're doing it. Basically, they come with like a stim shot, essentially. And their ultimate, you know, is kind of, or the super, whatever it was called. Let's just call it an ultimate. You know, you put down like this whole healing zone, which gives you double health. Which, by the way, I will say, the ultimates felt like they were slower than the last build, and I didn't like that. I liked it when they were a little bit quicker. It felt like I could only get 1 per game, even if I was playing decent. I mean, I could be on top on top of the leaderboard in my team. You know, I could be doing a lot of objective plays, a lot of kills, whatever. But I was still getting it pretty slow for the most part. I mean, you're kind of lucky if you can get it a second time. So for the most part, I was only getting 1 time. And I felt like, personally speaking, I would like that the ultimates could be a little bit more quicker to get. Which again, I guess there's concerns that can, you know, offset the whole kind of gameplay experience. But I don't know. Again, that's just my thoughts, that I felt like they were a little bit too slow. In terms of like the gameplay and whatnot, I felt like I liked how the sniper kind of felt. The sniper felt very smooth. You know, you can do a lot of quick scoping, kind of like old school COD, which kind of felt nice. But again, you know, what I want this game to be is, you know, sure, take influence from COD, but make it your own thing, right? Because again, we know there's a lot of people that, you know, were involved with COD in various different ways, whether it was esports or development back in the day. You know, again, different aspects of Call of Duty that are working on this together. And, you know, we got like Aches, right, who used to play a lot of esports. You know, we got Mark Rubin, who used to, you know, work on old school CODs, you know, different things like that. So again, I get that there's, you know, the desire to kind of, you know, make what COD has not been doing, but again, don't make it just necessarily COD, make it its own thing. And I really think there is potential for the game, but I think as of right now, if it was to release right now, I do think it might be dead on arrival, just because it doesn't feel as good as it could be. And it sucks to say that, because we've been waiting so long for this thing to release, but it's just not. I would have honestly said that if it released from the last build, then that I think would have had more potential to be successful releasing with that build. But this current build, I just don't think it. I don't know, man. It's not sitting right. Something's off. It just doesn't feel right. And it feels like they're so close. And I know it's tough, because like at this point, it's been dragging so long. People are like, is this game even gonna ever come out at all? And I hope it does, and I hope it comes out in a really good shape, because I think there is a lot of potential for this game. I love the maps. I love the visuals. I love the bright, vibrant colors. I'm a huge sucker for that. I love that kind of stuff. I like, those nice visuals, those colorful visuals. I like the different environments and the different factions that are taken from different Ubisoft games, right? We got like Splinter Cell and Far Cry and The Division and different things like that. And honestly, playing the Division maps kind of makes me want to go back and replay like the first Division game, because I love that kind of environment of that first game. So I love that. I love that about the game. And again, I think there's a lot of potential, but I just think there needs to be some tweaking. And it feels, I'll leave it at this. I think that, to me, it feels like the developers are too focused on trying to recapture what old school COD was. That's how it feels to me. I could be wrong, but that's how it feels to me. They feel too focused on that, and because they're so hyper focused on that, again, this is just my perception on what I'm perceiving from playing the game, but because what I think is them being too hyper focused on that, that's kind of is just kind of clouding their creative vision, I feel like. So if they could just focus on this game. And again, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they're not even focused on old school COD that much, but it's been brought up a few times. So maybe that is in their kind of at least peripheral. Like I said, take influence from it, but just be creative and create something new. Which it is new. It's not COD, but again, that's just kind of my thing. So again, I think right now it feels a little bit kind of iffy. I love what the game is presenting. I think there's a ton of potential. I want this game to succeed. I want it to be really good, because again, I think there's a lot of potential for this game. And again, think about like the future, right? They can add stuff from like Assassin's Creed games, even if they want to, right? Or Rabbids. That'd be like crazy. I don't know how they would do that, because it's kind of like mixing a whole other kind of genre of games into an FPS. But imagine, right? Those other games that we haven't seen in the game, right? It's, like I said, with factions and whatnot as well. There's many different possibilities and potential. So anyways, that's my rant. Let me know what you guys think, though. I'm curious your guys' thoughts. Are you loving it? Are you kind of iffy? Do you hate it? Like I said, I think everyone's gonna have a subjective opinion, but I would love to see as much response as I could from you guys to get kind of what you guys are feeling, right? Because again, this is just one man's subjective opinion. But at the end of the day, like I said, iffy on this, but I think there's a lot of potential, and I really want to see this game succeed, because it is a lot of fun. The core of it is a lot of fun, and like I said, I think it could be a really good game. I really do. So hopefully they can tweak some stuff. They can get it out in a good shape, and then continue to kind of develop and grow it, even post-launch. So we'll see. Let me know your thoughts. If you enjoyed this one, leave a like, subscribe for more, and until the next one, game on. See you guys soon. Hey you! What are you doing? Join the Skeleton Army! Do it today! Don't wait till tomorrow, because tomorrow might never come. The Earth is gonna fade, that's inevitable. The next second of your life's not even promised, so you better think about where you're going, and you might as well just join the Skeleton Army. Plus, we do kinda like you a little bit, so it'd be nice to see you around here. But if you don't want to, hey, your loss. See you later!